Hey guys, this is a very selfish stream. I'm bored. I just watched a bunch of YouTube clips. I realized I'm a huge fan of Donald Glover. The guy's fantastic. He's blown up recently after his Childish Gambino video. Guy's amazing. Love that guy. Donald Glover is amazing. I'm just bored. Nothing's making me want to do anything right now, so I thought I'd say hi to you guys. Thought about taking a walk. Thought about doing a tissue box thing. I haven't had any language lessons now in 2 weeks ever since my Chinese classes got canceled. And I haven't been motivated, although it's supposed to be disciplined, I haven't even been disciplined enough to go back and schedule new classes. I probably should do that right now. I mean, I really probably should book some French classes and Korean and Japanese and Chinese. Although I'm owed 3 Chinese classes because they got canceled. What is boredom? I don't... What is boredom? Where does that come from? What makes that happen? I don't know. I'm 93% bored right now. Well, I was gonna write something, but then I didn't. I don't mean like for the books. When I say, by the way, I probably should change this to Polyglot George. Before I got cat, I just attacked Yuki. I just attacked her. I came up the stairway, and Yuki was there, and she's just so damn cute. I just pushed my face right in her. I got hair all over myself right now because Yuki is ridiculously cute. Seriously. She's literally the cutest cat I've ever seen. And I'm so happy she's my cat, because if she was someone else's cat, you couldn't hug her strong. Like with other people's cats, you're like, oh, she's so beautiful. With your cat, you're like, yeah, you're mine. Yeah. You're biting them, they're biting you. You love your cats. Let me change this. Let me change this wallpaper. Hair everywhere. There we go. So, hey Melanie, you woke up early and did some kanji from zero kanji review before I had to leave. Well, that's good. I think it's always good to get some study in. I think study always makes me feel better. I felt very not motivated the other day, and I made a rule that when I'm not feeling motivated, I do book work, and that turned into some really good stuff. I did a really good update on the Japanese from Zero Book 1 revision, the pronunciation. I was very happy with that. I didn't even live stream it. I did it without live streaming, which was nice, because recently I've been live streaming a lot of the book work. What else? But I'm bored right now, so I don't have a rule for what I do when I'm bored. I thought I would do some more shadowing, because I really enjoyed the result of how the Tana Monjo went, even though it didn't go viral. I had this plan that it was going to go viral and be the biggest thing I've ever done, but it didn't. Turns out the biggest thing I ever did so far is still the Ore te kakkoi video. That's the biggest one. Over 1,200,000 views. But still, that's kind of tiny, right? For current YouTube, right? I went to a YouTube meetup. I was looking I couldn't remember how to say Tana Mongeau's name, and I couldn't remember her name beyond Tana or Tana. So I just typed in famous Las Vegas YouTubers, and then this Las Vegas YouTuber meetup thing came up, and I went to that. And there was a guy there that does he does reviews for just like as seen on TV things, and I learned a lot from that guy. He's got 140,000 subscribers. I was the second biggest YouTuber. He was the biggest, but his revenue is like 24 times my revenue, 24 times. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, are you saying views matter? I'm not talking about polyglot George, I'm talking about Japanese from Zero. But apparently, the one thing you would think makes complete sense that you should know automatically is that views matter a billion times more, or 24 times more than actual viewer counts. We're coming up on the 100,000 mark. Gup will die. Gup's lived a long life. It's kind of a euthanasia thing. He's going to get smashed with a hammer. I know there's a little bit of controversy of whether I should or should not. And frankly, Gup has told me he's ready to go, and that he feels like he's lived his life and it was worth living. Because most carp don't live as long as Gup. He feels like he kind of cheated death so far. So there was just a bug. There's a bug in my room. It's a flying bug. I don't know how it would be in this house. Why are you bored? Because you don't know what to do with yourself. At least that's my problem when I'm bored. You want to do something, but you're not really in the mood for anything. 93% bored. Camellia says something in Korean. 안녕 조지 무슨 방언을 좋아하니? I don't know what 방언 is. I've never seen that word. But I shall research. In the proper dictionary. Oops, what happened? I went to the wrong thing. 방언. Dialect? Oh, I never. What dialect do I like? 방언. That's a good word. Like Seoul dialect. How about that? Although when we were writing Korean from Zero Book 1, we made a huge mistake. Me and Reed both made a huge mistake. I still to this day can't believe that Reed made this mistake. Me totally could make this mistake because I was still so new to Korean when I really started working on the book. But you know how there's Biup irregulars? So Biup irregulars change from Biup to wo. So, or sorry. So you'll say like chuo. You don't say like if you want to say it will be cold tomorrow. For most verbs, you if that have a patchim, you add to the end, koeo, right? But because it's a biup irregular, it's koeo, right? But even then, it's not chuburkoeo. The biup is turned into an not an by the way. But me and Reed, for every biup irregular, we'd made graphics where it ignored that rule. And we were saying, it's still a joke amongst us that we didn't. I mean, again, I still think Reed should have known it. Reed was a Mormon missionary. He should have known this, but he didn't. And we wrote chiburkoeo, okay? Chiburkoeo. And the only reason it got caught was because we have native people reviewing the book, and we have a native sentence writer on that book, which was Sonhi. Sonhi was helping. And she's like, she's always very direct. She's like, 이거 뭐야? I'm like, what did you just say? I don't know what that Korean means. Because at the time, literally, that was my level of Korean. So we fixed that. But apparently that's a dialect in Korea. I can't remember where it is. It's like Daegu or somewhere. They do that. They ignore the Bupe rule. And maybe that's what Reed messed up on. But this is how bad my Korean was. I remember the negotiation with Sonhee to do the Korean book. So Sonhee was Reed's friend. I said, we need a Korean native to help. And he brought in Sonhee, and we were paying her cash, right, to do the sentences. And Reed's a cool guy. He's dorky but cool. Like, I can't explain Reed, but Reed is a cool dorky guy. Does that make sense? He's got muscles, but the worst haircut. You know what I'm saying? Like dorky cool. I hope he's watching this because he'll laugh, I hope. But I was really worried about the contract that I had written for Sonhee for the Korean from Zero book. It was like 8 pages in full-blown English, and she didn't really speak a lot of English. And I was like, how do I make this contract work for someone that doesn't speak English very well? And Reed's like, no, I can help. I'm like, oh, cool, Reed's going to translate, right? So we get in the room. I hand her the contract, and I say, okay, Reed, can you explain to her what I explained to you? He goes, yeah, no problem. And Reed goes, do you like making the sentences for us? Do you like working on the book? She goes, yeah. Do you want to keep working on this book? Yeah, sign this. That was what he did, and she's like, okay. And she signed it. There was no explanation almost. Later on, I had to explain to her the parts like, this is what you're getting, but she just signed it because Reed said to sign it. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more Korean. Now, Reed, don't watch this part. Reed's wife don't watch this part. This is before his wife, whatever. So Sonhee started giving massive attitude at one point, and I was so almost done with Sonhee. I was really ready to just fire her, but we were so close to being done. I didn't want to have to like bring in a new Korean person and explain how it works, because it's not an easy thing to, what's all the grammar that you can use, and you can't just make random sentences. They have to kind of fit a narrative that we're trying to teach here. And even though, side story, Sonhee had this one conversation that was something like this. Are you married? No, I'm not married. Is there milk at the house? No, there's no milk at the house. And we started calling those uyu munjang, milk sentences. So we're always telling her, no milk sentences, okay? That was just a side story. So even today, we still will say milk. Well, no, not anymore. I think we've gotten past it. But for a couple of years, we were always referring to milk sentences as a funny, don't make a nonsensical sentence that doesn't work in the book. Anyway, so Sonhee was every now and then being a real B to me. For no reason as far as I knew. Although I do drive hard when we're working on the book. And I don't accept any answer. So a lot of times, I remember when we were doing the verb charts, when we were building the verb charts, it didn't make sense the way Korean was taught in the traditional sense. I was really upset by it. And I think the consensus at the time was, well, that's just how they do it. But no one knew why they did it that way. And I said, you don't understand. Look, let's make this a math problem. And we had a whiteboard. And I just went up and said, look, 1 + 1 = 2 here. It makes sense. That's logical. 1 + 1 here also. And then the third one down, it was how ha becomes he. But they have ha going to yo. And I'm like, that's like saying 1 + 2 = 4. And I was yelling. I was upset. So there was days like that. And I'm very competitive. So if me and Reed had a disagreement, or me and Sonhee, or Sonhee and if anyone else had disagreement, I'd say I would fight to get to the resolution, and then on the board I would write a point. And I reveled in getting the points, especially in Korean. If I got a point in Korean, I felt like, you guys are dumb. How do you not know that? You're Korean, and you lived in Korea, and I figured it out. I remember when, I'm totally not finishing the story. I'm going to finish it though, I promise. When we were trying to figure out the difference between ro and e for particles. That's the equivalent of ni and e in Japanese. And I didn't understand it, but then I realized, oh yeah, Japanese is the same thing. They couldn't explain it. I was like, okay, look. Ro is when you're going towards a place. It's just like the Japanese e. And e is where you're going to, in a kind of a twist of fate. E in Korean is the direct way to go somewhere, like ni is. And that's what it was. And I remember the victory dance I did on that one. I was like, yeah, bitches! I was so excited. So anyway, but again, we still still were good friends. We always ate lunch together. We had a lot of laughter, but a few days in a row, Sony was being quite a bitch. Now, she has RBI. Or RBF, she taught me that phrase. I'd never heard that phrase before. My chair keeps rolling back. It's called resting bitch face. And I had never heard that term before, but it's just like, she just always looks mad. But she was actually being mad. Okay? And I remember I wanted to fire her, and I took Reed out. I said, Reed, can you come talk to me for a second? And I remember we walked around the building, and I was like, dude, can we get someone else? She's not working out. You know, and I think it was Reed that's like, look, we only got like 2 more weeks probably, and let's just do this. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then I went back in, and she was still being a B. Let's just not say the B word. Let's just she was being a B. And I go to the restroom, and I'm in there doing my number 2 or whatever. So I took a little bit of time. I come out, and Sony's crying. She's crying, okay? Like hardcore, she was crying, and I was like, oh. Reed took care of it for me. I was like, Reed fixed Sony, right? I am so naive. I worked with them for, I think, it was at least 8 months straight. I did not know they were dating and Reed was breaking up with her. But Reed made it look like, to me, he didn't want to tell me that he was dating her. And I had no clue, and she didn't want to tell me. She was trying to keep it professional. But Reed broke up with her, basically, I believe. And that's why she was crying. And that's why she was being so, like, she didn't want to be there. So her attitude was really anti-work. How funny is that? So naive. I literally had no clue whatsoever. Now, it turns out, I when we were working on books 2 and 3, I still wanted to involve Sony. And I'm not going to give you the full story, but we had a falling out, me and Sony. Reed was already, Reed wasn't quite there at that point again. He came back in after I'd already began to planning on books 2 and 3, and he finished them out with me. But I was working with Sony, and something happened with Sony. She didn't come one day on a day that we planned to meet. She didn't come one day, and she made like a lie to me. She lied to me. She made an excuse that I was very easily able to figure out was a complete lie. And that's a pretty big no-no with me. I don't care if you're flaky. Just don't make a lie to me that big that I can figure out. So I said, come pick up your laptop, because she had left it at the apartment. Pick up your laptop, we're done. And I wrote her out of the book. Okay? And to her credit, so much cat hair. But to her credit, I thought that was the end of our friendship. Turns out we're really still good friends, and she's one person that no matter what, when I go to Korea, I hang out with her, we eat, and I generally really enjoy Sonia as a person. It's just really weird that my conception of her based on her RBF made me think she would definitely not want to be a friend with me after I took her off the book, because that's money. Taking her off the book is taking money out of her pocket, money that, you know, she would get for the rest of her life if she had actually done the work on the book. I felt bad about that, but I couldn't work with her at the time. I was just like, you can't lie to me, especially when my time is so valuable in Korea. For me to say I'm not, I was waiting. She was supposed to arrive at 12, and I got the message like around 12. Hey, looks like I'm not going to be able to get a train ticket out of my area. I'm like, you found out at 12? It takes you 3 hours to get here. You would have known 3 hours earlier, And I won't go into all of the details of her continuing excuses about why she couldn't make it. She just didn't want to go. I get that, but she could have said, hey, can we change the day? That way I wouldn't have wasted a complete day in Korea, where normally I go meet with friends or go to language meetups. So anyway, that's the Chronicles of Korean from Zero. Mike, when you edit this, the Chronicles of Making Korean from Zero. Yeah. What else happened during making Korean from Zero? There was a lot of, oh man, we were eating so much chocolate. Like Reed gained a lot of weight during this. We would eat like Red Robin burgers and just pizzas, and because we were always like high energy working on the book, we'd go to like Sam's Club and buy like the big multi packs of like Snickers and Milky Ways, and we had bonbons. We were just eating like really crappy. That's how Korean from Zero got written. A lot of fun for me. I never wrote a book in that fashion. I never slammed through writing a book like we did Korean from Zero. That's why it's kind of nice to take the time that we're taking now to rewrite it 4 years later. Now, Japanese from Zero was the Chronicles of Writing Japanese from Zero. The Japanese from Zero was me and my wife. And I remember I didn't plan on writing Japanese from Zero. I just needed lessons because I had committed to teaching this girl, Samantha, Japanese. She was my first student, and I was teaching her in my dad's conference room at his company because I didn't have an office. I was like 21 or 22. I was like really young. And I had already written a bunch of lessons, the George's Convenient Japanese lessons. But I didn't really tap into those until much later. So I looked for books. I looked through a bunch of books, Japanese for Busy People, and I don't remember the other names of the books, but there was nothing that I thought was good. Like it was either too fast, too slow, too complicated. There was something I didn't like about it. So I just started typing up lessons, just random lessons. I think the reason why I couldn't use the George's convenient Japanese stuff was that was written in WordPerfect 6.0 or WordPerfect like 4.0 or some old, like really old system when I was like, I think I was like 19 or 20 when I wrote those, and my dad didn't have Word. But I bought Word, I think it was, I'm going to say 6.0. And that's where I started writing the lessons, Japanese from Zero. And it wasn't even called Japanese from Zero yet. I don't know what it was called yet. We didn't have a name for it. I don't even know how I got that name. Luckily I did because it's a good name. But I was just writing stuff so I could teach her. I just needed something. So literally frantically the night before I started writing. And then in the classroom, I would test that material. And then there would be dates on the bottom. There's dates on the bottom of every lesson. I've already told the story a couple times, but why not keep it fresh, right? And so the next week I might say, oh, there's a new edition. This is 1997. It was 97 that I started writing it. This is 1997, 1997 October 29th version. The last week was the 22nd. What version do you have? And I would just keep writing and writing and writing and writing. And I remember eventually we had a lot of lessons. And the way we would write the lessons is I would say, Yukari, give me a reading comprehension. So it started out with the reading comprehension. And then I would pull things from that reading comprehension and formulate them into a lesson. And sometimes I would say I need the next reading comprehension to have this grammar because it matches, it's a good flow from this grammar to the next grammar. But I remember there's one in book 5. It was like about the environment, or it was about farming or agriculture. There was some word like, and I remember yelling at my wife saying, you need to make more interesting comprehensions because these are so boring. And some of them I do think are boring, but all those words in that comprehension, I still today remember that's where I learned them. Like no sakubutsu, like stuff like that. I learned from that lesson. That's kind of funny. I thought that was kind of funny. But a lot of yelling and I don't remember all of the arguments, but we fought a lot writing those books. And then I would sit in class and Yukari would sit next to me. I would teach the class, and Yukari was like my Japanese tape recorder. She didn't speak English. She still doesn't speak English. So she would just be there if I had a question, basically, right? Now, actually, oh, you know what? Wow, this is actually good. I have video of me, I think from 2001, before any videos had ever been made, me teaching, I believe, either a level 5 or a level 4 class. But the person that's next to me is not Yukari. I don't even think you see her. It's Keiko. I'm going to see if I can find this video. It's Keiko from the George and Keiko show. Because Keiko, I met her at a birthday party. And I was trying to impress her. So I spoke a bunch of awesome Japanese. And she was like kind of new to America. So she's like, I want to come hang out in your Japanese class. I'm like, absolutely, come hang out. So she would come. She was there every single day, basically, that I taught Japanese and was absorbing the lesson. So let me see if I can find this. Give me a second here. Let's see here. Do not know. I think it's in here. It's just in here. Let's make sure we don't show some bad stuff. Last time I reviewed videos from this age, let's just say I showed something that should never be shown on a YouTube video where you're learning Japanese. Let's just say I didn't tell my wife. Who here was here for that? Who even knows what I'm talking about? I'm not going to read it. I just want to see what you guys say. What did I accidentally show? Oh, it was X-rated. It was X-rated. But what did I show? Who wants to tell me? Who remembers? Okay, I'm glad none of you were here. I'm surprised that never leaked because that was... Never click a random video. Oh yeah, this is the folder too. I'm going to have to be very careful in here. All right, this is not the right folder. Let's go up to this one. Yes, that's the one, Kyle. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. You did not want to see that, huh? That was the one. Okay. Let's not show that. Let's... Oh, gosh, it's in this folder, too. All right. We're trying to find specifically something completely not related to that particular thing. Maybe it's in this video here. Oh, I thought it was in one of these folders. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what it was, guys. It was... Oh, this is cute. I feel like I want to show you guys this. But I'm scared to put my screen up. Hang on, let me put this on another screen. I'm scared about what I might accidentally show you. I'm scared. All right, here we're gonna see if we can see this here. This is Mari. This is 3-year-old Mari. Almost 4, I think here.
ってそれマリが持ってお写真撮るんだよねはい、お姉ちゃんとこ行ってじゃあねママはすぐ行くよ
Isn't that cute? That's Mari getting, there's a photo shoot. Aw, look at the little girl. Yeah, Arisa was not yet alive yet. I believe this is like for, when is this? This is Sports Day, October 10th. You can hear Kansai dialect. Moton. That's Kansai dialect because this is in Himeji. Speaking of Pangon, my favorite Pangon in Japanese is Kansai dialect. All right, let's get back to the main thing here. Let's get back to what we were looking at. Let's see if I can find this. Oh, there's the first bath. We don't want to show that. Oh, okay. Here's Arisa. I did not mean to do this. Here's Arisa's first walk. We actually caught it on video. Oops, what did I do? What did I do? Are these videos not in order? What's happening? Give me a second. なんでこの電池死ぬんだろう。満帆じゃなかった？満帆じゃなかったよ。そうじゃなくてさ、そうじゃなくて上手するんでしょ？あれさ上手は？マリがいるとさ、やらないんだよアリサ。2歩歩いたんだってよ。私が見てないけど。どういうマリちゃん叫ばないで。びっくりするんだよ。もうすごい歩いてる。今日は初めて歩いてるんだね。たったって言ってるね。たった。 Here it comes.
上手
上手。
歩いてごらん。おいおいおいおい。
すごい。これ3回目ぐらいだね、歩いたのはね。すごいよね。ママ感動。
ママ疲れちゃった。
あまり見えないんだよ、アリサの歩く。
あなちゃん、ダダのとこ行ってごらん。ダダ。
あーちゃんおいで。あーちゃんうるさいんだよあれ。
ダダのとこで優しく置いてって言ってごらん。
Come on, come on, you can do it. You can do it, girl.
そう
Let's do it.
上手。
No, 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 not until you walk, girl.
おいで。
No clapping until you walk. Come on.
おいで
got this.
アリサ。
Kind of not remembering what happens here.
29日かな。
This is 2003, 15 years ago.
いえ、じゃあ。
Almost to the day. This is the 29th, 10 days
お
from
いじ
now.
ゃ
Oh.
でももう一回頑張るの。もう一回頑張るね、おや。痛いよ耳。
Itayo Mimi! Mari, shut up! Risa's trying to walk here. Yes, that is my wife. That was my wife. That was her first day ever walking too. All right, let me see if I can find. I'm not trying to do the family video hour. There is video within this folder. Oh, here it is. Nihongo Kaiwa. This has got to be it. Oh, actually, okay, wait. There's a video right before this that's actually kind of cute. Okay, this is okay. Listen to this. Listen to this. Hang on, hang on. This. You see where? Okay, you see back here. You see where this computer is, right? Oh my God, this is actually really weird. This is really weird. You see the computer on the TV? That's exactly where the computer was in real life. That is really weird. Whoa. Seriously, look. That is that corner right back there. That. I now have a bed there. This room used to be the office, and now it became, again, my office. That is so weird. Okay, that is just very weird. All right. Here we go. This is me teaching Japanese. 2001. I am, let's see, let me do the math here. 1972 I was born. 72, 82, 92. I'm 29 years old here. This is me 3 days before my birthday. Here we go. This is the classroom. You can see it says 1997. Actually, wait. Wait, that I must not have updated that. I was a member since 1997 of the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, that's... What was I doing? I hit the wrong button, sorry. Nothing's changed.
Speaking of, yeah.
The guy you hear in the background is Steve Leahy. He became my partner on JapanFiles.com.
Oh, you know what? I gotta be careful because I walk close. This is gonna be tough. I might have to have a cameraman. Lights? Alright.
Look at all that hair on my head. That's fantastic. That is fun. Oh, you hear the sound twice? Do you... Oh, how do I fix that? Hang on. Hang on. I will mute this. Let's try that. How about this?
Did we start this lesson at all yet?
No.
Alright.
There we go. Sorry about
Did
that.
we do kanji yet? Let's say that we did.
We can do
Let's
it
say
next
that we
week.
did.
I know so.
As a matter of fact, did I print off the kanji cards for you?
The kanji cards that I handmade, I want to point this out. I handmade these kanji cards. These were all my kanji cards, which I never have actually released as an actual
Those, right?
product.
For level
You
3.
send them. You can just send them to me.
What, you don't have level 3 kanji cards?
I think I do.
You
Yeah, I
should.
do.
You can study off
Yeah,
of
you gave me
those.
those. You gave me
And then there's also the downloads off the net that you can use.
Home,
Home?
Yaku.
No, not Hyaku. That's bun. Bun. No, it's not. Bun for
No,
sentence.
no, no, no. Yeah, man. Just get your stuff together, Steve. Steve is now married to a Japanese woman and has 2 children.
Bun and mo for moji.
I'm not
You're
reading the
looking at the
next
right
one. I'm saying this one.
Oh.
But
I
I'm
thought
telling
you
you
were
ones I
going
know.
next.
That's the equivalent of a typo in my class right there when I didn't know what sentence we were looking at. And notice that the lesson here is stapled together. This is pre even a book existing.
And then men,
Men and
namai,
say.
namai, the third one. And then
Let's see if this gets any more interesting.
hajimeru. To end or finish.
Oh, what it was.
Owarimasu. All right. Now we'll talk about the verb usage on this. Naru, we need to become, meaning like I'm going to become this, I'm going to become that. It became this, it became that, just like we use become in English. The thing that you are becoming is marked with ni because it's the location.
Wow. I'm a little bit blown away that even that long ago, that's the wording I was using. The thing that you become is marked with ni is just that's like a landmark, not a landmark, but that's like a style that I use in all of the book writing. Even in Korean, I do that. Like the thing that you do, the thing that is blah, blah, blah is marked with blah, blah, blah particle is how I do it.
Destination marker, that's how you can remember it, okay? You're heading towards that thing, that change, okay? For example, 私は今年25歳になります. What does that mean? Right, I will become 25. When you turn it into English, though, you literally can say, I turn 25, right? The word turn would be an acceptable translation for naru. もう冬になりました. Right,
Become winter.
already become winter. But your translation was okay. It's already winter, you know? But the narimashita is just saying that it's become winter. It implies that it's getting cold, maybe. It snowed a couple times, you know? 信号は赤になりました.
Lights already become red.
Light has become, the light became red. The traffic symbol, the signal has turned red. All right, hataraku.
Work.
What particle do you think would mark the place of where you are working? De. Why?
Because action.
Event location, right? It's action location, event location marker. And you working somewhere is an event. All right, how would you say, I work at a convenience store?
Konbini de.
Hataraite imasu, correct. And why would you use the te imasu form?
Because you're actually working.
Right, it's a ongoing
You're in
action.
the presently.
That's really funny because this exact thing I just did in a level 5 class. I literally stopped the class and said, hey, let's talk about why this is teimasu. So let me think about this. This is 2001. So 17 years later, I'm still doing that same lesson. And it's all freestyle. It's not like it's all off the cuff. I think at one point I'm writing on the board. Let's just jump ahead. My little cute handwriting's on the board here somewhere.
明日から働きます. But verbs today. 始まる and 始
I don't know. I think my voice sounds the same.
める. Now this is a pattern that you're going to see a lot of. Okay?
Really? Why
This
would I
type
put
of
it back?
pattern, where the verbs are very similar. Where one has like a ma and one would have a me. That's going to be a similar type of pattern that's going to be coming up. And the difference between these is one is active and the other is passive. And I'll explain that. Hajimeru.
I need a cameraman.
This doesn't matter because if I ever did this for real, I would really plan all this stuff out. But anyway. Hajimeru, hajimaru. Hajimeru is active. And what that means is, this verb here means I began it. I will start it. I am the initiator of this action. Okay? When you say hajimaru, it's passive. I didn't start it, it started. Okay? For example, you could say, the war started. What particle do you think you would use for that? The war started. Senso is war.
Since hajimarimasu.
Exactly. Senso ga hajimarimasu. But if you wanted to say, let's write that up there first of all. Oops, I did that stroke order wrong. Sen, so, ga, hajimarimasu. All passive verbs use ga by default. Okay? What if you wanted to say, I'm going to start a war? You would have to use hajimeru because you're the initiator of the action. Or maybe you're saying that America started the war. It's the same thing. It's going to be an active.
Nothing's changed.
America wa senso ni. Why would it be ni? What does ni do? Ni shows a change or direction towards something, right? There's no direction there. They didn't start off for a war, right? Oh. That's the direct object marker. O is used for active verbs. Think about it just for a second. Every verb that you know where you're actively doing something, and we've never talked about it like this, but every verb that you know that you're actively doing something uses O. Eating a fish, sakana o tabemasu. Buying food, tabemono o kaimasu. All of those verbs, something o kudasai, give me, they're all active, right? Anything that is passive uses ga. It doesn't mean that every verb that uses ga is passive. Okay? Nihongo ga wakarimasu. I understand Japanese. It's not really passive or active, it just happens to use ga. Alright. So, the way to remember which one is passive, god damn it, I gotta really get. It'd be kinda cool. You know what? I would just really need a person that's attentive and that can move it back and forth.
It's funny, I don't find any flaw in what I'm teaching. I think it's pretty good, except for maybe it's possible, and I forget which way this goes, but there's transitive and intransitive, and I have to go back and review what that means. I hate those words, and I never ever want to see those words again in my life. But it's possible that these are transitive and intransitive versus active and passive, and because I wasn't using a grammar book to come up with these things, I was thinking, what do I want to teach and what are these things doing? And if you teach hajimaru, like, because I believe what what we were teaching was gakko ga 8時に始まりました. But then there's also hajimeru, so how do you teach the difference? What's the difference between those? You know, that's I think what I was thinking. So I called it active and passive randomly. I don't know if that's what they're actually called. I'd have to go back and look.
That.
Oh, that was going to be something good. Me. Hang on, it says Nihongo Kaiwa. Yeah, this is the continuation.
Man, how do you spell that in English? Me, I did it. And then the way to remember this one is obviously ma, my mother did it. It's passive. Now, it doesn't mean that someone didn't actively decide it, or didn't actively do it, I apologize, or start it. It just means that it was started without your involvement, okay? It means that you, for example, school started. Someone didn't start it, right? You didn't start it. It starts on its own, but it did start.
In this video, I'm 29.
戦争が始まりました
3 days
Doesn't
before
mean
my
that someone
30th
didn't actively
birthday.
start it, except it really implies that you're not involved in that whole decision process. There wasn't nothing you could do about it. Okay. わかりますか? All right. 終わる このクラス
Let me just flip through here.
Because the jugyo, by the way, is just walk.
This whole thing is about active and passive. I think, God, this has got to be a level 5. Steve was a pretty advanced student.
They would be like.
Oh, I wonder if Kaneko, I'm not Kaneko,
I went to Japanese
Keiko shows. I don't think Keiko was here this day.
Light conversation now. It's already become autumn. It sounds like chestnuts.
It's funny, actually. I think this is the day we shot George and Keiko, maybe, or I have video somewhere of that day.
To go to the mountains. I'm talking. It's always the best to get online for all this stuff now.
Oh, there's Steve.
自己紹介お願いします.
Look at those graphics I made based on someone else's graphics. IRDA Today. That's the group I used to be involved in for interpreting. One of my first big interpreting clients.
前回で一番です。よろしくお願いします。
You're my commercial boy. Cool. All right. Let's hit stop.
Wait, let's not hit stop.
Right, and obviously it's not. Okay.
Who's behind
I mean,
him?
Marty has splinters, you know. They're like cactus.
I have no
You
idea what I'm
reviewed the lesson
referring
ahead
to.
of time? It's always the best thing. But you know what I gotta say? Even though you're reviewing ahead of time, it's pretty impressive that you can answer the way that you're answering. It means you really know
I
your
do
stuff.
believe
That's
that.
really good. I'm gonna print out lesson 9 for you, which is a
Lesson 9. So, okay. So that's lesson 8. I want to see what book that is. Lesson 8. How far are we talking back here? Let's see. Why is my screen? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, now it's white. What's happening? There we go. Okay, I believe that's book 3. That's got to be book 3. Let's check. Book, it feels like a book 3. It doesn't feel like anything above that, believe it or not. Let's see. Japanese from Zero book files. Book 3. We'll just open up each book and go to that lesson. We'll go to the current version of this book. It is not going to look pretty because this book's under revision. As you can see, like if I show you this screen, you can see like it's all broken. This was the one book that was needing a revision more than anything because the original file is not able to be reprinted. There it is. That's what lesson we were talking about right here. Hajimaru no furigana yet. This is the new version. This is totally incomplete, but this is what we were doing right here. These are all new but yet already outdated things that we're doing. This book does not have any furigana yet. The difference between Hajimaru and Hajimeru. And yeah, you're right. Someone posted that I called them. I didn't want to call them transitive and intransitive, so I called them state verbs and action verbs to make it more clear. I don't like using verbiage like that because I can't keep in my head what transitive and intransitive means. So I don't want to expect a student to do that. All right. So there you go. This is the lesson. I thought I could have swore that was like a book 5 thing, but it looks like it was not anywhere near being book 5. There you go. So yeah, I would before a class, basically a few days before class, I would frantically be making the lessons because I didn't want to go to a class unprepared, and that's how the books got all done. And the only reason they got into book format was the binders were just getting too crazy. So we started this old machine called an Ibco machine. It would punch 30 holes into the paper, and you had to do like 10 pages at a time. You'd print the book on a copy machine, and then you would, and they were single-sided too back then, and we would put it in the machine and go late night, all night long, me and Yukari making like 20 copies of the books, and eventually we were selling those copies online. I have, do I have a copy? No, that particular memory box is not up here. I do have copies of those books from 1997 though. They're fantastic. So there you go. There you go. That is a long time ago. Ato ni to ato de no chigai wa setsumei shite kuremasen ka? Says Josh. Ato ni and ato de. Boy, I tend to say ato de shimasu. I'll do it later. I think the ato ni is like, and then after that, I did this. So if you say, sono ato ni ikimashita, okay? If you're telling a story, and this is my rough explanation that I'd have to clean up. Sono ato ni ikimashita. After that, we went. Tabeta ato ni ikimashita. After that thing, I went. So ato ni becomes a time, okay? And normally you don't even need the ni. You can say tabeta ato ikimashita. But if you're talking about ato de ikimasu, I will go later. You would never say, this is a weird thing, and I don't know why. You wouldn't say tabeta ato de ikimashita. You would never use past tense there, and I don't know why. I just know it's not right. Ni makes it a time for sure. I don't know what the day is doing. No idea. There's my answer. This is why I stopped doing Ask a Teacher live, actually live. I would take the question, give myself 30 minutes to make a PowerPoint because I need to actually think about it. And if I'm confused, I'm going to make you more confused. Right now, I don't have a quick answer for, like you say, for example, ato de ne, see you later. I don't even know if it's a particle, actually. I don't think it's a particle, and I think that's where it's confusing. Ato de feels like a one word to itself. But ato ni is ato plus a particle. Let's check that out. If I go to jisho.org, I think ato de will come by itself, but ato ni will not. Ato de will come up afterwards, and ato ni, I do not think will come up. Right, it's not coming up as its own thing, it's coming up as part of things, right? Ato ni suru, to leave behind. Yeah, that's different, that's not the same thing. So, there. Afterwards. Whereas ato ni is a construction with a verb, basically, right? Mita ato ni, after I saw it, something o shimasu. Or I did it, or I will do it, right? But you wouldn't say mita ato de. Someone could say to you, when are you going to do it? You could say mita ato de, after I have seen it. I don't know why. I don't know the small nuance differences, though. I don't know how to codify that into a phrase. Now, if I was writing grammar about this would probably take me a good 20 minutes of me writing it up and then just coming up with what exceptions are there. Why can't I use ato de? Why can't I use ato ni? Why am I forced to use ato de? Why am I forced to use ato ni in some cases? I would come up with the rules, I'd make the rules, and then I would say, Yukari, chotto tasukete kure. And she might say, ato de, later. Because that's what that means, right? She would not say ato ni. Ato ni, for sure, I know one thing is, it's becoming a time. After this particular thing is done, it's a time. This is not a time per se. You can't mark it as a time. There, that's my professional, non-professional answer. Why am I not uploading videos on the JFZ channel? Someone answer that for him. I think I've talked about that a lot here. I got fired from Japanese from Zero. A lot of people don't know this, but I got fired. Because one day in a live stream, I started talking about, someone asked me a question about pedophilia, and I answered it. So I got fired. I'm no longer part of Japanese from Zero. Shock. Just kidding. Just kidding. I used to do all the live streams on Japanese from Zero, but because of that question about pedophilia that did actually come up, some guy asked, is it okay if I like a 12-year-old girl? And at first I just blanket said, absolutely not. But then I realized pedophilia is a thing, right? And I hate saying this again, but it's like being gay. Gay is a thing. You're born gay, you're born pedophile, right? And I remember at one time I had read on Reddit I got totally sucked into reading people's stories about the struggles they go through being a pedophile and having those feelings that they can't stop, right? So I said to the guy, I said, look, I understand that you have those feelings, but you can never act on them because as those feelings might feel natural to you, our society can never, ever let those feelings exist. And you will go to jail for the rest of your life for one mistake. And I told him you need to find a support group. And I explained to him, I don't remember the subreddit, but I said, look on Reddit, there's subreddits about it where it's not about trying to find somebody that's 12. It's about how do I prevent those feelings? How do I block? And it's sad. It's really sad because, of course, I never support pedophilia, right? In my world, it can never be correct. Obviously, I have daughters, I have children. So even along those lines, I could never condone it, but I can understand it. I can understand that it's not a choice. It's like, there are people that are homophobic, right? Because you come across those it's really easy to say, I hate all pedophiles, and everyone has to agree, I hate all pedophiles, right? We have to agree to that, right? But for gay people, there's two sides, right? You can say, I'm anti-gay, or I support LGBTQ rights, or however many letters are in there now. You could say that. And in an argument with someone that thinks being gay is wrong or a choice, I like to ask, when did you decide that you liked girls? How old were you when you were weighing the choice of, do I like boys or do I like girls? When did you make that choice? They go, what are you talking about? I always like girls. Exactly. and I win that point. But I can't do that with pedophilia, right? I can't say, when did you decide to like women about 18 and older? When did you decide to like Asian, like it was a choice for me? For me, I don't think it was a choice. I think it's just built my DNA. I like Asian women. There's something about the color of the hair, the way the eyes look. There's something about that somehow, like it could be a disorder for me, right? Like it could be back in the day, because gay was a disorder, right? It could be that I have. Let me come up with a name for this disease. I'm ageist. No, that doesn't work. I'm Gaysian. I'm Gaysian. Not that I'm gay. I'm only 7%. Oh, what a coincidental shirt I'm wearing today. Not planned. That has nothing to do with being gay. That's being in love with Asian women is a disorder. It's got to be let's call it Lasian. You like Asians. That's better than Asian, because there's a weird connotation with that. I'm Lasian. I have a Lasian disorder. I love Asians. Okay. Anyway, so I talked to that guy in a real way, and I realized, because pedophilia is such a bad thing, and there's no way it can be accepted in our society, no matter how much understanding we can have, you can't allow someone to act on those feelings, because children don't have the wherewithal. They don't understand things enough to know that they're being, what's happening to them if you take advantage of them, right? You as an adult could totally ruin a child with in your mind, normal feelings, right? So I told him to not act on that, and I told him where he could get help. And then later, that guy PM'd me, and I really questioned why he asked me on a live stream on Japanese from Zero, but he PM'd me, and I was happy that I was able to help him. He said, "Look, I don't know where I can ever ask that thing." He apologized for blurting it out on a live stream, and I don't know if the topic led him to think he was okay to ask that, and I don't know if he was even expecting an answer. But he said thank you, because in his country, and I forgot where he lives, he said and I think it's the same in America, you can't just go to your psychiatrist and say, "I want to have." I'm not even gonna say it because you guys will take it out of context, but you don't want to say those things, because you can go to jail just for that alone. They have to report it by law. And I thought, wow, that's got to be rough. Because as much as you hate it, it's even serial killers, right? They are born with this instinct to kill, right? I'm not saying they're not wrong, right? It can't be accepted in our society, but you have to understand that's how they were born. I mean, there is nurture in nature, obviously, but there are people like, and I give this example, this extreme example, is that some people fall in love with buildings, and I forgot what they call that. I watched a whole documentary on it. It's this lady like had fallen in love with a windmill or some amusement park ride, and she would take special visits with him, and she'd have her hand up in the gears, and she'd get all the oil on her, and it was sexually arousing to her. And I think when I watched that, I realized that's when I started because I have this theory of how it's not a theory. It's my idea, my visualization of how a human gets its traits, right? We have all these genes in our body, and I always imagine they have like a lever, not a lever, but a meter that can go 0 to 1,000, right? And I am pretty much maxed out 1,000 love Asian women, right? In that particular gene sequence. And my 7% gay joke that I say, the phrase that I say, that's because my gayness meter goes up about here on the 1,000 range, right? I have certain conditions where, okay, in this particular very narrow circumstance, maybe I'd be okay with a guy, right? And I've explained that a million times, okay? But my girl meter is max. I freaking love girls, right? And I think you can have I think a bisexual person is probably maxed on both, right? Okay. Why did, and that's why I don't do videos on Japanese from Zero anymore. Because I'm not doing live streams. No, the other reasons are all of the books are in revision, as you can see. So I don't have any videos to talk about because the books that I'm working on won't exist anymore in a few months, depending on how long these revisions take. So I don't want to I don't want to make any more videos at the risk of making my videos outdated. All right. Okay, here we go. Radishchel Tare says, I don't think you are born gay. I think it's a problem that is caused by what happened in your life until that moment. I completely 1,000,000,000% disagree with you. Please tell me, I'm just going to call you Tare. Again, I asked this earlier. What made you like girls? When did you decide boys aren't for me? I think I'll go with girls. And then you committed to it for a lifetime. Imagine that. I committed to women my entire life. I remember very clearly. I was 13 and I just decided I was weighing this real heavy option. I was like, boys or girls? Well, I don't want to be gay because, man, you're just going to get ridiculed and you get made fun of in school. So, yeah, I decided to become heterosexual. That's when I made that choice. I remember wrote it in my diary that day. Dear diary, today I decided to be heterosexual. Now, are there people that become gay? I'm sure. Because of the dials in the human body. Sure. Maybe you liked women and then you happen to have a homosexual experience and the guy that you were with was really great and you built a nice memory and it wasn't weird in any way for you, and it turns out it's probably easier to have sex with guys because guys are horny, or I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry, but I'm just saying it's typically not a choice. It's just how you are. You were born that way, to quote the great singer, what's her name? Oh my God, what's her name? The new Madonna. What's her name? My memory dial is only about right here. Melanie says, can we all be outraged for a second that deodorants for men now have locked cap and you can't test prior to buying them? Who in their right mind buys a deodorant where no one has idea how it smells? I know. Thank you for that, Melanie. Thank you for lightening up the mood. It's gonna be a big reveal. It's gonna be a big reveal. If I can find it. There it is. Always handy here on the desk. This show brought to you by Old Spice. This is the best underarm deodorant. Just gonna call that right now. I decided when I was 12 that this was the deodorant I was gonna use. I decided. I remember I wrote it in my diary. Dear diary, couple big decisions I made in my life today. One, I decided Old Spice Pure Sport, which will be invented maybe 20 years from now. I'm going to go ahead and start using that and really enjoying it. And also, I think I'm heterosexual. I talked with my teachers. I went to the counselor. We all, weighed the pros and cons between homosexuality versus heterosexuality. I just decided hetero. Yeah. All my other friends went homosexual, but I just wasn't feeling it. I like girls. Also, I decided Asian women. I decided it's got to be, there's something about the slant of the eye that I just really enjoy that, Especially if they got that little goldfish look on there. I really enjoy that. Dear diary. It's the day after. It's the day after I decided to be heterosexual. And I want you to know I don't regret my decision. Dear diary. 20 years later, wouldn't you know it, I'm 7% gay. I don't know what happened. Something happened in my life, and I decided I'm 7% gay, and I even made a shirt denoting my sexual preferences right here, available up at link below in the description. That's how I do merchandising. I use my diary to do merchandising. Anyway, I love this. And here's a little secret. Speaking of secret, before I found Old Spice, actually, before my wife bought me Old Spice, I was using Secret. Strong enough for a man, made for a woman's Secret. That little baby blue one, I use it all the time and I loved it. And honestly, my wife made me a man, okay? Because my wife one day bought me men's shampoo, men deodorant, and men body wash. And from that point forward, I was like, this is awesome. I was only using female-y, like florally stuff, but men's stuff is like sport, Irish Springs. It's got this whole different vibe to it. There you go. I don't know how the topics changed to that. You, Joshua, me and you shop at the same store? Seriously, I have like 5 of them right over here. I buy them like in bundles, just I never want to run out. So to make sure I always got these. Oh, yes. Oh, man. Okay. I gotta get in there. Oh. Another trivia. Arisa uses this too. She loves it. And we keep some in the car for cheer, which in the summer melts. It's very, very dangerous. No, the gnome persona. I saw your comment about only 7% slanted eyes are attractive. No. You gotta be at least 50% slanted eye. Seriously. I don't know what you're talking about. It's, oh, Radesh. Okay, Radesh. Radesh, I don't know anything about you. You're the guy that said it's a problem to be gay. Let me guess. Can I guess? You are not from America. You are most likely raised. This is a very racist thing I'm getting ready to say. I'm going to guess you might be Muslim. And with the name Radesh, I'm guessing India. I don't know. Why would I say Muslim for India? Let me just go there. Let me guess. Am I right on any one of those accounts? Oh, he brought up God. Okay, yes. I knew you were religious. If you know God didn't want it to be gay and you wanted to change something, you will be able to change that. But only if you want and with the help of God. No, first of all, let's not get into this. There is no God. That is a mental construct. I'm sorry I'm disappointing some people. I know I'm disappointing some people. In my world, there is no God. I know that for you, there's hair all over. Or is it a sign from God? He's trying to shut me up. I do not believe there is a God. Matter of fact, I wrote this thing for, we're going to do it. I wrote this thing for Tissue Box Channel. I would like to play it for you right now. Some of you are thinking, oh my God, not Tissue Box Channel again. Can we? I even have it bookmarked. Let's not do Tissue Box Channel again. But this is called My Garden. My garden. I have lived a long life, and at this point, I'm not sure if I'll ever die. Throughout my life, I've completed countless huge projects. I also have many hobbies, but probably gardening is my favorite. I started gardening first by just chucking some seeds into a hole and seeing what happened. Most of my first gardens failed miserably. Sometimes nothing would sprout, and other times the soil would poison and kill anything in it. Through trial and error, my gardening improved, and my gardens would last longer and longer. The gardens were, in a sense, growing me rather than me growing them. Once I felt like I had a good handle on how to garden, I decided to take a week out of my busy schedule and build a massive garden. It would be my largest garden ever. I spent the first day looking for the perfect plot of land that had just the right amount of sunshine. The land was void of any plants, and this was good. I evenly spread out soil, making sure to add the necessary nutrients for the seedlings that I would plant. I erected barriers around the plot to protect the area from anything that might harm or damage the crops. The second and third days, I planned where each crop would lay in relation to the other crops and carefully chose crops that would complement each other. On the fourth day, I selected hundreds of variety of seeds to plant. For a garden, this would be the largest I had ever created. But as for projects, not involving gardens that is, This certainly wasn't my largest project, so I was confident the garden would be a success. From the beginning of the project, I made sure the garden had proper sunlight, but my prior experience taught me that if I wanted a successful garden, water was just as important as the sun. So on the 5th day, I built elaborate irrigation systems to make sure the plants could get the proper hydration they needed to grow. After the irrigation systems were complete, I finally planted the seeds. It took all day and night. I spent my 6th and final day shaping some leftover rocks into separators for some of the crops. At this point, I was really just trying to make the garden as beautiful as possible. I was exhausted. This was a lot of work to do alone. I think most people might not even believe me if I told them I built it. I took extensive notes on how I built the garden, and even wrote down some short stories that I thought up as I mindlessly dropped thousands of seeds one by one into holes. I plan to eventually publish a book of these stories. I hope it can inspire other gardeners like myself. After 6 days building this master garden, it was finally done. And although the seeds I had planted wouldn't be sprouting for quite some time, I could easily imagine what it would look like once everything had sprouted and matured. It was practically paradise. One of my most impressive feats for sure. But, like I said, at this point, none of the seeds had sprouted. I spent most of the next day sipping lemonade while sitting on a ledge overlooking the garden and taking occasional naps. I was pleased. I couldn't wait to see what would become of my garden, but I had to get back to my other ongoing projects. I neglected the garden for much longer than I intended, but finally, after many, many years, I visited the garden. I was disappointed. I was disappointed to see that many of my original crops had spoiled. I would have to practically start over again. I picked a couple samplings of each type of plant that hadn't yet spoiled and carefully laid them side by side in a box a friend had made me. I then diverted some of the irrigation to flush out the entire remaining crops that had spoiled. Once the flooded out garden was again dry, I replanted the plants I had saved. Again, I would have to wait for the crops to grow back and spread. After another few years, again more than I planned, I wanted to check the garden. But I was pretty busy with my other projects, so I sent my son to visit the garden and remove any weeds he might find. You can imagine my dismay when I heard that while my son was removing weeds, he was pricked by a thorn and bled to death. I felt quite betrayed by the garden. How could my beautiful creation be a part of the death of my only son? Luckily for me, it turns out the news of his death was premature, and in just a few days, he had made a complete recovery. Many more years passed before I had time to visit the garden. I hadn't even thought of the garden for more years than you can probably count. Once I finally visited the garden, I was surprised to hear voices coming from the blades of grass that had spread well beyond the original garden. This was certainly an unexpected turn of events. They called out my name, but I knew none of theirs. How they knew my name is quite a mystery, as I never told them. The blades of grass asked me to assist in removing weeds that encroached in their space.
Dandelions also called out my name, asking that I help their seed fly far. But from the vast spread of dandelions in all corners of the garden, I think perhaps they didn't need my help. I was most surprised by the trees. They constantly called out my name, thanking me for the return of leaves to their branches after winter. This was quite strange because I certainly had no part in their leaves returning. It seems that every single plant in the garden knew of me. Some called me by a different name, and some even denied my existence or ignored me completely. And although I never answered even one of the requests from the billions of plants, many of the plants were certain I had, and this seemed to make them happy. But there were others who realized that I hadn't answered, and this made them miserable. Others blamed me for the years where the lack of rainfall left them dry, or when other plants grew taller than them. Honestly, I never planned to be this involved with the garden, but I was proud, and I still am proud of my creation. I'll still check back every so often, perhaps. Maybe one day, in between my other projects, I can even respond to some of their requests. But for now, they are on their own.
That's God to me. I feel that if there is a God, and it's very possible there is, he has no idea who we are. He made this thing and walked away, and whatever happened, happened, and he visited it and didn't, whatever. It just, obviously I was drawing parables from the Bible and Noah's Ark and the end of Jesus Christ's life, right? Or the supposed end, and then his resurrection. But I certainly don't believe that story, and I can't believe that we believe that story, that story that we came up with. Harry Potter is, for me, more plausible than the story that we made about Jesus and wine into water, or water into wine, and walking on water. For those of you that ask, though, this channel is called Tissue Box Channel, and it's my art project. My art project that I put a lot of effort in, and I almost daily release videos. This is a particular favorite of mine. It's not always religion or anything like that, but I won't play the entire thing for you. But this is shot at the airport. That's the Las Vegas Strip we're overlooking here. I'm not a deist either. I don't believe anything, really. I think it's possible. And if there is a God, he doesn't know about the blades of grass that he planted. Okay? So, it's not anything but that. I just don't believe that God knows our names and knows that we need a parking spot on a certain street, or that our particular team wants to win, or that my daughter wants to ace this test, or that I hope this boy kisses me on my first date. That was from the perspective of my daughter. Those things, there's no way. There's no way. He took some seeds and he spread them out, and I also believe that if there's a God, we have no ability to understand what he is. I mean, if you told me this was a computer program, I'd believe that too. Anyway, the people that believe in God upset me for one reason. God knows everything, as Kratos Schbaum just said. God knows everything, and they never doubt God. They never doubt, because religion teaches you cannot doubt God. You must have faith. So there's no ability to really question. And then there are those people that swear to me, some of my best friends, I investigated, I researched, and I coincidentally still chose the exact religion my mother taught me about. But they don't see the parallel there. And when I ask people that are religious, how do you feel about insert other group, Scientology, Mormonism? If you're Catholic, what do you think about the Pentecostals?
And they all easily go, well, that's just crazy. It's just crazy that they can believe that. But yet, for some reason, they don't ever question that maybe they're crazy too. And by the way, for the record, I'm not saying it's not possible, because that would be hypocritical. Anything's possible. I even have a pet theory that everything's possible. That if you believe one thing, maybe it happens. Maybe it happens for you, and what I believe happens to me, right? Maybe the universe is that mysterious, right? Because certainly Donald Trump lives in his own world, and Steve Jobs lived in his own world, and they made different realities. So maybe reality extends beyond death. I don't know. I actually don't know, and I'm willing to say that. But when you're religious, most people are not willing to say that they don't really know, because they know for sure, without a doubt. I guess I admire that. I guess it's kind of nice. You don't ever have to doubt it. But why don't you stop trying to convert me? Let me believe what I believe. I'm not trying to convert you, okay? To each his own, right? I do not believe God is all-knowing. And when I asked a good friend of mine for proof of God, all she gave me was scientific numbers about how much lightning there is on the earth and the amount of energy in the sun. And I was like, those are all facts that we figured out. That doesn't prove the power of God. It just proves that there's some power out there, right? It doesn't prove even an existence of a deity. It just proves that there's a lot of energy out there and it's getting dispersed in a variety of ways. So, Devote, I also don't believe religion was created for money. I think there's a fundamental desire for humans to have an answer, and I think it bred out of that. Are there churches that were bred or made for money? Obviously. But let's end the religion thing, because, man, I can go on and on and on, and it's not fair because I don't give you guys a fair chance to talk back, and I don't want to hear what you're saying about your religion because it tires me. So I will hereby ignore all religious comments from now on. Except for this one. What you need to trust is the Bible and see what God actually says, and not necessarily what your religion says. Are you saying I've never read the Bible more than once? Are you saying I never got baptized and gave myself to the Lord? You would be wrong. You're not saying it even at age 24, I found God again? And wrote a deep felt letter to my wife about me finding God and how I needed God in my life. And then I forgot that I did that. Found that in my memory box. So that's what I'll say. Thank you. Osiris, by the way, I love your name. There are over 3,000 gods being worshipped all around the world. So the odds of anybody's God being real decreases. I worship the meme God. Thank you. Guys, no more religious talk, guys. This is Polyglot George, not Polygod, Polygod George. I want to keep it light. It's okay if you hate me because I don't believe in your God, but let's keep it light. I'm not bored anymore, thank you. I still have cat hair all over me though. I'm definitely low-level allergic to cats. Alexa, set upstairs to 74.
The AC is set to 74.
Thank you, darling.
Absolutely.
We're friends. Me and her are friends. That's some power right there. This girl can turn off. She's like a magical creature. I can have her watch this. This is going to be bad. Are you ready for this? It's going to go dark for a second. I don't even know what's going to happen. Are you ready? Alexa, turn on no power mode.